Hey YouTube, this is Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, back with another Leaks of the Weeks. This week is only featuring Kill la Kill and Little Buster's Refrain. There's no Angel Beats, there's no Log Horizon leaks this week. But, that's to be expected because both of these sets do come out on Friday. And then after Friday, we'll probably be starting the Angel Beats and the Log Horizon leaks, along with the potentially Love Live leaks, which I am extremely excited about. Anyways, but yeah, once again, Kill la Kill does come out this week for Japan. Kill la Kill does come out later in September and August for you English players. So if you're an English players, I hope you look forward to these leaks because you get to see them before the American leaks do make them or do reveal them. So yeah, that being said, let's get right to it. So this first card is a 2-1 Nui. She's 8-5 power. She's closed and eye patch. Eye patch, kind of weird trade, but I guess it makes sense. But anyways, when she's played from hand to stage, this card loses 1500 power until the end of the turn. So when you play her from hand to stage, she becomes 7k power, which is pretty lackluster for a level 2. But she does combo with the gold bar. When you play the gold bar and she's in the front stage, you can search out for another one of this Nui and place it to the border, and place it to an empty border and then shuffle your deck. So pretty much, you have her in the front, you play the combo, and then you get another Nui out for free, which is cool. And when you do play her by this combo, she doesn't lose the 1500 power because this first effect specifically says from your hand to your stage. So when you do the combo, she'll come out as 85, and then of course the gold bar is still active, then she becomes 9-5, which is I guess cool, but I don't think this combo is worth it in Kill la Kill decks because the Climax lineup is already really tight with the 2k1s, the gates, and even the win trigger if you decide to run the Mako assist, level assist, and her respective combo. So overall, I do think the space is too tight. The Climax lineup is a bit too tight for Kill la Kill as it is right now. And two, this card is pretty lackluster on its own. It's only 2-1, 8-5. And when you play her, she becomes only 7k, which is really weak for level 2. And the timing is a little awkward because as soon as you hit level 2, let's say you only have like 7, 8, or 9 climaxes or cards left in your deck, and you play the 1k1 soul, there's a potential chance of being no Nuis in your deck because when you hit level 2, you probably have a small amount of cards left in your deck, and there's a potential of no Nuis being in there. And if you do want to make this combo consistent, you have to run 3 to 4 Nuis, and if Nui's in your hand, then she's pretty bad, to be honest. Whoa, what's happening? I hope that it was recording all that. Anyways, if in case it did it, overall, I don't think Nui is worth it in Kill la Kill decks. Next up, we have the 0-0 Mio. She's 3-5 power. When you have 4 or less cards in your hand, she does not stand during your stand phase. This effect really doesn't harm you at all. It's not really a demerit at level 0 because you really should have more than 4 cards in your hand. But later into the game, it may affect you. Let's say like your opponent has an open slot, you play this Mio to get direct hit in, and then there's a potential chance of you not having 4 cards in your hand. So, then she might not stand, and then you have to play over her or risk losing an attack for the turn, which is not worth it. So overall, I don't think this Mio is very good. There's easier ways to splash red into your deck, and there's other better beaters for level 0. So that being said, Mio's pretty bad. What's with all the bad Mio cards in this set? Anyways, next up we have this 2-1 7k Saya. She combos with the pants. Oh yeah, this week's gonna have a shitload of Saya cards. So for all you Saya fans, I hope you look forward to that. I like Saya, so I'm okay with it. Anyways, she combos with the pants. When you play the pants and this card is in the center stage, all your characters gain the following effect. This ability can only be activated once per turn. When this card is reversed in battle, place this card to rest. So pretty much, when she's in the front row, you play the pants, and all your characters can't die for the turn, essentially, because when they get reversed, they go back to rest, so you don't have to fear backups, and you could just go for max amount of soul damage, because you could just front attack with every character, which is actually pretty cool. And this effect does synergize with her change, because during the start of your Encore phase, when this card is in rest, you may pay 2. If you do, choose one Final Moment Saya from your waiting room and place it to the original border of this card. The Final Moment Saya is the level 3, which I will show you later into this week, so yeah, you'll see it in a bit. But she does change into her level 3, and the combo does work with her because if she gets reversed, then you cannot change. And so her being only 7k, if you don't have this combo, you're pretty much going to be forced to side, because level 1s and level 2s can easily back up against Saya. But if you do play the pants combo, then there's no fear, and all your characters gain this effect. So it's actually a pretty cool combo. The only downside is that it combos with the pants. If it comboed with the book or I don't know 2k1, then maybe. But because it combos with the pants, I don't think it's gonna be ran in Little Buster's deck, just because pants is not a very good climax, to be honest. So unfortunate. But overall, she is still the changer for the level 3 Saya. So if you're running a Saya deck, or if you want to run the level 3 Saya, then this is a good. Then yeah, you should consider this into your deck, just because she does change early into the level 3 Saya. So that is Monday's leak. Tuesday's leak is this Kamakori here, 002K. He is closed and disciplinary committee. If you have 3 or more cards in your clock, he gets plus 1k, so he sits at a vanilla power of 3k. And his other effect is during the start of your climax phase, you can, accelerate, clock yourself 1 damage. If you do, he gets plus 2/5 power until the end of the turn. So if you have this first effect off, he's 3k. You accelerate himself, he becomes 5/5, boosting at a vanilla level 1 power, which is okay, I guess. This is not the worst card ever, I guess, just because he's potentially a vanilla, which is not bad, I guess. And 2, with the accelerate, you can probably kill anything at level 0. You can even potentially kill like 0 to 1 changes if it's like a 6k. Like let's say they change it to a 6k beater, level 1 at level 0, you can accelerate himself to 5/5, you can 2k1 him, you have a 500 assist, etc, etc. Kamogori can, be a surprising he can kill something. He could pretty much kill anything at level 0, which is pretty cool. So you can run 1 or 2 of him if you want to splash in blue into your deck. Next up we have this 0/0 what's his name again? Sanageyama, whatever. 0/0 this guy. If you have 5 or more cards in your hand, he gets plus 1k, so once again he also sits at vanilla power. And this card gets X, where X is the level of the character directly opposite of this card multiplied by 2000. So if there's a level 1 in front of him and you have 5 or more cards in your hand, he only sits at 5k power. If they have a level 2, then he gets 7k power, and they have a level 3, then he sits at 9,000 power. This is all assuming that you do have more than 5 cards in your hand, which is pretty weak, because he's always going to lose to them, essentially, even as vanilla power. But I believe this card is made to kill marker cards, because he scales better than the marker cards. Like Marker Asuna, for example. If Marker Asuna has, let me see, she has 1 marker, then she's at 6k base, and she's level 2. So if he fights a level 2 Marker Asuna, then he becomes 7k. And if there's a level 3 Marker Asuna, if she has 2 markers, then she's 6k, 7/5. Then he's fighting a level 3, so he would get 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Yeah, 9,000 power. So he'll always kill marker cards. So overall, it's still not worth to run into your deck. But I mean, if you really don't like marker cards, you could run 1 of him. But he's still in backup range of those marker cards, and then you'll give them another marker. But still, I mean, if you want to just always force a backup against a marker card, because marker cards just piss you off or something, then you can run 1 of him. But overall, just run 1 or 2. Don't run any more. And it's all your choice overall. Yeah, so if you don't like marker cards, you can run him. If you don't care, then yeah, don't bother with him. He's pretty bad besides that. Anyways, this other card, the glasses guy, 101k, but he's an assist, to be expected. Closed glasses. Assist, all your closed character in front of this get plus 1 level and plus 500, which is pretty cool. Stop suicides and, give a little power boost. And his other effect is okay. When he's played from hand to stage, you may pay 2. If you do draw 2, discard 1. So he's a nice little hand filter before refresh, or let's say you want to pay out a climax. And he's an okay assist. You don't have to use this effect either. So overall, this guy is okay. A level 1 assist. Only real problem is that he still gets raped by Wingslayer. But still, he's okay. I don't think he's worth running though, just because, you have the Mako global assist, which I think is actually pretty good, especially with how the set is, especially with the rest of the set. I do think the Mako is better, and if you're running Berserk Ryoko, she can't get reversed by card effects anyways, so the plus 1 level doesn't really do anything for her except make her harder to side. So overall, this guy is okay. He's not bad per se, so he's alright. If you want to run 1 or 2, go for it, but if not, but it's not a big deal if you don't run him. So he's just whatever. Next card, we have the 0-0 Cood, 500 power, animal. All your other, she's a global 500 to animal characters, which is pretty cool. And she has another effect. Place this card to rest, choose one of your animals, it gets plus 500 power until the end of the turn. Which is really good. This is a really solid assist. But Little Busters already has an assist very similar to this, except it's a blue card. The other card I'm thinking of is a 0-0 500 power. It's 500 global to animals, but her other effect is tap, give one of your animal characters +1 level. Now, if this card better than the +1 level one is, I guess, pretty debatable, because the +1 level is actually kind of a big deal for Little Busters, because Little Busters has a level 2 Sasami. When on play, you give a level 2 or higher character, I think, 3k power or 2k power, and that's actually a pretty big deal. So if you have that level 1 assist, you could power up your level 1 to a +1 to level 2, and then play that Sasami, and then give that level 1 3k power, which is actually pretty cool. Because, Little Busters level 1 being pretty weak, that's actually a pretty good way to get rid of problematic level 1s that your opponent has. Because, plus 3k is a lot of power. And when you have a level assist, giving your character +1 level is essentially the same thing as giving 500 power. Only you have to wait till level 2 to use it, because that's when you have your level assist active. And of course, the +1 level does let you run over opponent's suiciders that they have open left on the field. So overall, is that assist better than this assist? I think it's debatable, this card. I don't know, it's pretty debatable. If you need to run more green into your deck, then I guess you can run this Cood, but I don't think splashing green into animal decks is hard, because they have a lot of good green cards already. But I don't know. Personally, I like the +1 level one better than this one, but I don't actually own the deck, so I can't really say for myself. But overall, I do like that +1 level one better. But nonetheless, this is still a very solid card. So, yeah, still a solid card. So, yeah, just personal preference. I think at the end of the day, I think that the debate between the two is personal preference. Next up, we have the 0-0 Riki and Saya. She's 2-5. When you have one or less characters, this card has plus 1500 power. So she sits at 4k. This is, like, stupid. Just because Little Busters already has an exact card like this, except it's an animal trait. And the animal trait is probably superior than the weapon trait, just because it works in animal decks, while the weapon doesn't really work in anything. So I don't know why they made this card, but it's cool, I guess, just because it has Saya in it, and the foil art might have a really nice looking Saya picture. I don't know. Overall, it's a solid card, just 0-0-4k if you have one or less characters, which was probably going to happen most of the time. But overall, kind of a waste of a card in my opinion. Next up, we have this 2-1 event. Anyways, 2-1 event. So place one of your characters from stand to rest. Then you can then choose one of your characters, gets plus 4k power until the end of your opponent's turn. And then after that, brainstorm 3 and pretty much mill the top 3 cards of your deck. If there's a climax amongst them, place this card into stock. So it's okay. You choose one of your characters, you rest it, which is pretty easy, I guess. And then you give one of your characters plus 4k power, so you pretty much guarantee survival for one of your characters, because it does last until the end of your opponent's turn. And then you mill the top 3, and if you do hit a climax, then this card does pay for itself essentially. But it does sound nice and all, but I don't think this card does enough to have a spot in your deck, because there's already a really good Little Busters event, the 1-2. You pay 2. If you have 4 more climaxes in your waiting room, you can salvage 2. That's already a really solid event. So, is it worth more space in your deck for this card? I don't know. This card is okay, but I don't feel like it does enough for me to use it in my deck. Yeah, so that's what I think. It's okay, but it's not good enough for me to actually run. So, yeah, that is my verdict on this card. But we'll see. Yeah, it's not the worst thing ever. It's not the best thing ever. So if you do want to run 1 or 2, then by all means go for it. The only problem is that if you hit 2 climaxes with the mill 3, then you're probably screwed. And you're going to probably have to brainstorm a lot after. But yeah, let's go on. Wednesday's Leak is this really shitty 003 500 power Satsuki. She's double R. She's a 500 in front assist. and she combos with the book. When you play the book, and so when you play the book, you pay 1, then you mill the top 3 cards of your deck. If all those cards are closed characters, you may pay 1. If you do, search your deck for 1 closed character, add it to your hand. First of all, this effect is very lackluster for a double R, like what the hell. Second of all, it's only 500 in front. Third of all, it combos with the book, which is not bad per se, but you have to pay 1. Vivid, and you have to hit closed characters. So if you run any non-closed characters, like let's say any Makos, because they're family, then this effect fails. And there's actually some pretty solid family cards in the set, the level assist, and later you'll see this week the level 3 Mako. So, and you have to pay 1 on top of that. The Vivid Red one combos with the 2k one, which helps you break even, and if it does successfully go off, you plus. But this one is a higher chance of failing. You have to pay the 1, and it only breaks even because it's a book. So overall, this is a really bad double R, and even if it wasn't a double R, I probably wouldn't even run it in my deck anyways, just because the 500 global Mako is better than this. So overall, Sasuke sucks, in my opinion. So yeah, for all you Kill la Kill players, good luck. Hopefully you don't pull too many of this, and hopefully you pull the level 3 Sasuke over this. Next up, we have this 2/2R Jakuzure. I don't know her name. 2/2 8k, 2 soul. If there's a marker underneath her, she gets plus 2k power. If you have 2 or more close characters, she gains hand encore. How she gets her marker? When she's placed onto stage from your waiting room, put the top card of your deck underneath her as a marker. So pretty much, this means that when she comes into play, she has no marker. You're gonna have to encore her at least once, because when you encore them, that's when they come from waiting room to the stage. And when that happens, then you get your marker. Then she sits at a 2/2 10k base with hand encore, which is honestly not that bad. I mean, yeah, just because the hand encore does help her, survive all the way into level 3. She does sit at a 10k power if your opponent does reverse her, and she keeps spacking your opponent for 2 soul. So overall, I actually kind of like this card. I think it's not bad. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. She's 2/2 10k. She has hand encore, and she smacks for 2 soul. So overall, I do think this is a pretty cool card. If she's going to be ran, I guess that's personal choice. If you don't, probably not going to be ran just because you have the level 3 Satsuki. You have the, potential Mako combo if you want to do it. But I think it's a solid card in its own right. Just my opinion. Next up, more Little Busters card. 1045 Haruka. She's beads and twins. Place 2 of your characters to rest, then choose 1 of your characters against the following effect until the end of the turn. When this card reverses its opponent in battle, you may place a top card of your deck into stock. This is like the Nisamono card. It's like the Senjo that was kind of recently released in Nisamono, and it's also like that Eddie card in the School Idol Festival. But yeah, you get the extra stock, but the problem is Little Busters has a lot of assists that already tap themselves. They have the 0/0 Rin that tap give 1k power. You also have the the animal assists, yesterday's and the blue ones that tap give an animal effect character a certain effect. So Haruka's a pretty solid card, but yeah, Haruka's not bad. So if you want to run a Haruka, you could run 1 or 2 of her just to tech into your deck, but I don't think running more than 2 is wise. So overall, Haruka is a pretty solid card. Because, if you don't need to tap them just because you're going to kill them, why not gain extra stock while you're at it? So overall, Haruka's a solid card. Next up, 1/1 Vanilla Saya. What more do you need? Next, we have the 2/1 Saya backup. She's 3k backup, but when you use this backup, you must mill the top 3 cards of your deck into the waiting room. Little Busters already has a backup like this. They have the Komari backup. So why the hell do they waste a card spot for this? It's cool, I guess, just because it's Saya, and also that their Komari is pretty old. So getting your hands on this one is better. But anyways, pretty much this backup can either make or break you, because let's say you're gonna be pretty close to die. Are you gonna risk milling yourself 3 cards? Because if any of those are climax, you potentially fucked yourself up. But if none of those are Climax, then you have a really good shot of canceling the next hit. So overall, this card is all about timing, how you feel, like, do you feel like this card is going to save you, and, just a bit of luck. So overall, yeah, it's a solid card. But just, I don't know, I think it's a waste of space. Because, they could have made another card instead of this, but, whatever. Still a good card. Next up, Wednesdays, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's leak. 0-0 Ryuko. This card is really good. She's closed on weapon. When she's played from hand to stage, you can discard a Climax from your hand. If you do, return a close character from your close or family. Oh wow, even better. From your waiting room, add it back to your hand. And then, of course, her other effect: when your other close or family character are reversed in battle, choose one of your characters. It gets plus 500 power until the end of the turn. So overall, this Ryuko is just really solid because you can discard a Climax, which is not hard to do at all, and you get to salvage a character. So she breaks even. You get to discard a Climax before refresh, allowing you to get more Climaxes into your waiting room, increasing your canceling rate. And of course, if you have one of this on the field and one in the waiting room, you can just kind of loop them. You play one, discard a Climax, salvage another Ryuko, play over the Ryuko you just had, discard another Climax, salvage the same Ryuko. So if you have like 3 or 4 Climaxes in your hand, and you have no other way of discarding them, you can just loop the two, and just discard all the Climaxes in your hand, which is just something to throw out there because it does happen. Sometimes you do just draw 3 Climaxes and you have 1 card left in deck. Sometimes some decks in those situations don't have any way to get rid of those. But with Ryuko, you always have a way to get rid of Climaxes from your hand. And this other effect is actually really solid too, because after you play her, then she's still annoying for your opponent. You could just toss her in the front row and then put your opponent in these awkward situations where they might not be able to kill both of your characters just because this Ryuko is on the field. So overall, I really like this Ryuko. It's a super solid card, and I'm jealous that I wish I had this card. Anyways, 2-1 2K backup Senketsu. Close on blood. First of all, he's a 2-5 backup. But when you use this backup, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a close or family, choose one of your characters to get plus 1k until the end of the turn. So you can split this one. You can give 2-5 power to a character, reveal the top, then give another 1k power respectively. This card is okay. It's because it can be a 3-5 backup, but starting at level 2 and level 3, revealing the top card of your library to your opponent may not be a wise thing to do, because then your opponent can plan accordingly their next hit. Let's say you use this backup, you reveal a Climax, you don't give any extra power, and you tell your opponent that you're going to cancel next hit. So the next hit, your opponent's probably going to swing for 1 damage, and then cancel it, and then they'll do their next, maybe 2 damage to you. But if you didn't have this, they might have thought to attack with the 2 Soul Beater first over the 1 Soul Beater first. So overall, this card is just questionable. It's not the worst thing ever, but perhaps a 3k backup would be better than this, just because of the potential chance of giving information to your opponent is not a wise thing to do starting at level 2 to 3. Next up, we have this 2-1 Komari. It's a pretty funny card. 2-1, 6-5 power. When the character opposite of this is level 3 or greater, she gets plus 5 soul. And she already has 1 soul, keep that in mind. So she sits at 6 soul base. And she has hand encore. I actually think this Komari is actually pretty cool because let's say your opponent runs like a 2-3 change. And most of the time when your opponent runs a 2-3 change, sometimes you just can't get over that. And then either you're forced to side to level 3 and deal 0 damage, or front it and then minus yourself just to get more damage into your opponent. But with Komari, you always have a solid way to side the level 3, and you'll be doing at least 3 damage, which is a lot, but hey, at least you're getting some damage in on your opponent. And she has hand encore, so she'll just keep living. And also the fact like if you're really desperate, then you can go for a burst amount of 6 soul to your opponent, which of course is trolly and probably not going to hit, but she can be your last ditch effort to win you the game. And if you know your opponent has no Climaxes left in their deck and you have to deal like 7 damage to them, just cram Komari and then attack for 1 and then win the game. So I actually think this Komari is actually really cool, funny card. So yeah, and she has hand encore, so you could just side, they kill it, encore, side, kill it, encore, side, kill it, encore. Yeah. So overall, I think this Komari is cool and funny and is an interesting card. Next up, we have this 2-1 Saya. She's 5k. She's a weapon. She's double R. She's a little assist in front. times 500, which is, yeah, level assist. And this other effect is stupid. During the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may clock yourself 1 damage. If you do, choose one of your characters gets plus 2k until the end of the turn. Starting at level 2 and 3, you should not be clocking yourself. Like, clocking yourself starts becoming questionable, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it unless you really have to. But this, like, I don't know, just clocking yourself to give one of your characters plus 2k is not that hot. So overall, it's a pretty lackluster double R. She's only really going to be here for the level assist. But I do think this card is interesting just because she's blue. And, you know, the maid Mio with the Stardust Himeno builds are usually red-blue. And before they would be forced to run yellow to get the Rin level assist. But with this one, now they don't have to because it's blue. Although the Rin level assist is pretty solid because you can grab the Stardust Himeno because she's animal. Right? I think she's an animal. Right? Sorry guys, I should have checked this earlier. Yeah, she's an animal, so the old level assists can search out for the Stardust Himeno just because they're both animals. But you know, if you don't want to run yellow into your deck just for a level assist, then you still have this Saya. It's going to be a pretty much a vanilla level assist, but it's a level assist, and every power Stardust Himeno has does help you out in the long run. So, yeah, just solid just because it's blue, and yeah, that's all about it really. 105k Tokikaze. When you play the Climax, when you have a Climax on your Climax border, he gets plus 1500 power until the end of the turn. So he sits at a 6-5 base. Probably not worth running just because you have to play a Climax for him to reach decent power. And, you know, you won't always have that Climax for him to be used effectively. So overall, this card is just pretty lackluster, and I don't think I would be running it in any Little Busters deck. Next up, Friday's leak. What can it be? It is 3-2 Mako. This card is freaking crazy. Or it's not crazy, it's good. It's a good card. 3-2, 10k, double R, 2 soul. When she's played from hand to stage, she gets 500 power for each close or family character you have. So if you have a full field, includes herself, so you'll get plus 2/5, so she'll sit at 12-5 base until the end of the turn, which is not bad. But this card is like Musashi from Contact Collection, but if you don't know what Musashi does, I'll tell you what this card does. This can only be activated once per turn. During the turn this card was played from hand to stage, if this card damage is cancelled. If the damage of this card is cancelled, place it, mill the top card of your deck, and deal X damage to your opponent, where X is equal to the level of that card plus 1. So you at least get 1 damage, because if you mill a level 0 or Climax, you deal 1 damage. If you hit a level 1, then you deal 2. Hit a level 2, deal 3. If you hit a level 3, deal 4 damage. And, you know, and Musashi is already a good card. So why would this Mako not be? Yeah, she only gets a power until the end of the turn, but, you know, once she's attacked and she's done her thing, then who really cares about Mako? Just let her die. You can even salvage her just to do it again, because they already have the 2-2 event, which they've already shown. They've had the 0-0 Ryuko. So overall, recycling this Mako would be pretty easy, so who honestly cares if she dies? Because she's only really here for the second effect. And on top of the anti-heal, on top of the level 3 Ryuko they already have, they have a lot of endgame finishing power. So overall, this Mako is a very solid card, and a very welcome addition to Kill la Kill, and honestly, this Mako would be a welcome addition to any set in existence. Because this effect is just really strong. It's like just potentially do a lot of damage just out of nowhere, you know? So overall, this Mako is a solid card. A little, you know, inconsistent, because sometimes I'm at 3-6, my friend's like, oh, Musashi, attack, oh, ping 3, oh, cancel. You know, at that situation, then, you know, a normal flare trigger or a normal crasher would be better, like the 3-2 Asuna. But overall, Mako is still a very solid card. And yeah, next up, you know, contradictory to this super good card, we have this really crappy Rin. Like, what the hell is this card? It's like the worst level 3 2014. I swear to God. Anyways, it's such a letdown. Like, why would they do this? Whatever. It's 3-2 10k double R. She's animal, of course. Okay, first of all, when she's front attack, look at the top card of your deck. You can either leave it there or place it to the waiting room. This card is pretty solid. I actually really like this effect. But her other effect is pretty balls. When you play a Climax, or when there's a climax on your climax border, you may pay 2 and discard a level 1 or higher. If you do, choose 2 of your opponent's characters on the front row and then bounce them back to your opponent's hand. First of all, this effect is super intensive. It's not even on attack. So you can't generate the two stock first before you use this. You have to use it as soon as you play the climax. So that's pretty intensive. You have to discard a level 1 or higher. Why can't you discard anything? Why can't you just discard a climax, or why can't you discard a level 0? Why would they put this stupid side effect there? And lastly, you need to have a climax on your climax border. So she's climax dependent, she eats a lot of hand size, and she eats a lot of stock just to bounce 2 characters in your opponent's hand. If you bounce 2 level 3s, most level 3s have on-play effects like this Mako, a healer, draw 2, ditch 1, etc, etc, etc. There's a lot of on-play effects that this Celine can potentially fuck you up with, because you bounce them, they get their strong on-play effects again. Of course, this card is, I guess, pretty cool if your opponent has like 2 or 0 stock, because that they can't play their level 3s again. And it's only limited to the front row. If you could bounce both your opponent's back row, then hey, this card would actually be kind of decent. It would actually be pretty decent. But because she's forced to only do on your opponent's front row, and she's super intensive, and she's has to use a climax, and you have to discard a character card, makes this card really retarded and bad. And they should have just never leaked this, because nobody likes this card. Next up, we have the 0-0 Kyosuke. This card's actually kind of cool. He's a 1k backup, level 0. When you use this backup, choose one of your level 1s or lower character. It gets plus 1 level until the end of the turn. So pretty much this is anti-suicide, because you use this on a level 0, you give them plus 1 level, your opponent's level 0 suicide does not work. You give a level 1 plus 1 level, their level 1 suicides don't work. Unfortunately, this only targets level 1 or lower characters, so this does not stop level 2 suiciders, because, it only gives level 1 or lower plus 1 levels, which is, why? But anyways, this Kyosuke is pretty cool overall, but I don't think it's going to be ran in decks, just because A, it's a really weak backup, and 2, this only works against opponents with suicides in their deck. Not every set has a suicide, and there's no side decking in Weiss Schwarz, so you can't just side this card in. So overall, this Kyosuke is interesting, it's cool, I like it, but probably not going to be ran. And honestly, Little Buster's level 1 is really weak anyways, so I don't even think you force them to use a suicider. Anyways, let's go on. And this is the 3-2 Saya that I was talking about that changed from this Saya early into the week. So she's 3-2 10k weapon, she's double R. When she's played from hand to stage, when she's played from hand or via change, you can heal 1, which is solid in its own right. And next she has this other effect. When this card declares an attack, you may pay 1. If you do, this card gets plus 1500 power and the following effect until the end of the turn. When this card reverses its opponent in battle, you may put that card to the bottom of its owner's deck, which is also a pretty solid effect in its own right. So overall, Saya's ability to heal and her other effect is actually pretty decent, and it's not climax dependent, makes Saya really easy to splash into most Little Buster's deck. A lot of Little Buster's deck already have blue, like the Maid build, the anti-heal build, a couple animal builds also run blue. So overall, Saya is a pretty solid card. Just, you can even change into her if you so please. She heals, and she also has a bottom deck effect. Is this card better than the Cood? Is questionable, because there's also a level 3 level 3 Cood from the anime set, which is also really easy to splash into most decks, and it also heals. Because the Cood, when she kills anything, you can pay 1 and force an opponent's character to not stand during the stand phase. So the Saya is really easy to splash in, and the level 3 Cood is also really easy to splash into most Little Buster's deck. The choice between the two is ultimately your choice in the end. But overall, just in general, this Saya is just really solid card. So yeah, that is it for this week. Not the most exciting leak for this week, but let's see, double R blue and double R yellow, double R blue. So both double R's for blue and yellow has been released. The double R red has been announced in the level 3 Ryuko. So all that's left is another all that's left is another double R for red and the 2 double R's for green. So their next week is going to be pretty exciting for Kill la Kill, because that's 3 double R's in 1 week. Probably before Friday. So yeah. I hope you guys look forward to that. This week is just kind of whatever. And I guess I'll just do... Wow, this one's a lot longer than I thought it'd be. Anyways, I'll just do the thing I always do. No. No, no. Yeah, this is a cool combo. Just combos with pants, but this card is just solid just because you can change. Yeah, why not? Probably not. Potentially? Probably not, though. I like the level +1 level 1 better, but who knows. If I'm not running Animal, I would run this just because I like Saya. Probably not. No. Probably not, but I like the card. Maybe 1 or 2. It's a vanilla, no. Yeah, probably. Yes, yes, please. Maybe. Maybe. Probably not. I'll probably find, if I did ran that deck, I'd probably find the Weiss Splash in yellow. And probably not. And yeah, fuck yes, please. No, what the I'm so mad because I really like Little Busters. I was thinking about buying the deck, but or I was thinking about buying an animal deck, but this card is like convincing me not to buy the animal deck. If this card was really good, like a lot of people were thinking this was on attack burn or like on play burn, or just like a flare trigger attack, then this card would be really solid. But to everyone's disappointment, it ended up being this crap. So no, this card is just retarded. No, probably not. And yeah, I like Saya, so I'd probably run her. Saya, cool character. Anyways, that is it for the leaks for this week. I hope you guys enjoy them. Like always, tell me what you guys think about the cards below. And yeah, until next time, guys.